of who's in the group. Um, so uh, I'll start with them. Their introductions, because they're new, maybe will be a little more comprehensive, just so we get a sense of who they are. Maybe the current members maybe keep ours a little bit shorter. So, uh, in the interest of time. Jennifer, would you mind starting?
Absolutely, I would love to start. Hello, everyone. My name is Jennifer Campo. I am a justice impacted woman and mother in long-term recovery from substance use disorder. Methamphetamine was my drug of choice. I have extensive experience in the criminal legal system in the state of Minnesota. I entered juvenile justice at the age of 13, on and off until the age of 17. I tried really hard to live a better life after I became a teen mom at 18. Unfortunately, a series of unexpected events occurred, and I did end up getting a few felonies later in life. So I spent some time in county jails on probation. I lost my oldest son to the child welfare system in the state of Minnesota 10 years ago next month, and I haven't had any contact with him in 8 years now, over 8 years, unfortunately. I have, since my last arrest, completely turned my life around, surrendered, worked a rigorous 12-step program, became a pillar in my community for social justice advocacy, both locally and statewide. I had the opportunity to serve on the state's Community Resource Center Advisory Council, developing community and family resource centers. I also work for a family resource center up in East Grand Forks, Minnesota. It's in the northwest corner on the Minnesota-North Dakota border. I serve on a statewide Health and Human Services Board. I was just nominated to be the Public Policy and Advocacy Chair for that organization. I'm really excited and nervous. Getting to be on this task force is absolutely incredible. I'm super passionate about social justice reform. I had an opportunity to be a 2024 Minnesota ACLU Smart Justice Fellow, which I completed, and it helped enhance and develop my community organizing skills. I earned my associate's degree also in 2024 with an emphasis in social work and criminal justice, and I'm currently attending MSU Mankato online for my nonprofit leadership certificate and applied leadership bachelor's, which I'm very close to accomplishing. I'm really excited for that. Also running for Minnesota House of Representatives for my district because of how passionate I am about policy reform in the health and human services field. And that's going really well too. I'm really excited. Excited to be here. An open book. Like I said, I do a lot of advocacy locally and statewide. So I did share, I forgot to share, I'm also a very proud descendant of the Turtle Mountain Band of Ojibwe. Both of my children are enrolled and my partner is enrolled as well. So some of the community organizing I do up here is around MMIR campaigns. If you're familiar with the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Relatives Office in the state of Minnesota, I have closely coordinated with them to do awareness campaigns on that topic in our area. I'm getting a little red, but I'm super excited to be here. Like I said, anything else you want to know or reach out, I'm always happy to make new connections. That's how I've gotten to this table, is by just being an open book and meeting new people all the time. I'm really excited, super excited for this one though. This is where my heart is. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. If you if you're open to it, if you would, I think the members would love to read the article that you're featured in. If you just pop it in the chat. I'm sure at some point maybe they'd like to read that. Okay. Hi,
Absolutely. I will do
Heather.
that right
Yeah,
now. Hi.
thank you. Hi, Heather. We'd love to hear a little bit about you. Next.
Okay, well, as you said, my name is Heather. I live in Faribault. I'm currently in school studying for my applied leadership. I have a strong interest in policy and legislative work. Um, I guess the perspective I bring to the table is I have a family that has been impacted by the justice system. I myself have experienced the justice system. I know what policies and programs can look like on paper, but I also have lived under them. So I'm excited to bring that perspective to the table. And I guess, yeah, I'm an open book. I'm available to answer any questions anytime, and I'm just excited.
Yeah, I wonder, could you, I know you in your application, you talked about the community work that you do. Um, I'm sure that they'd love to hear about some of that too.
Okay, I'm very involved in my community through volunteer work. I basically do anything I'm asked of at any time. Um, I, sorry, I'm a little nervous. Um, so I have August 2021, I entered into treatment court. I'm sure some of you guys are familiar with that, and that has allowed me to completely change my life. And I just think that everything I do in the community every day moves me farther and farther away from that person. I grew up in a dysfunctional household, tried meth at the age of 30, became severely addicted, and then experienced the prison system 7 times. So some of the advocacy work I do is working for the Domestic Abuse Center. I work for the Women's Center. I really have a strong interest in children, sexual assault work, just kind of trauma, what leads people to make the decisions they make. And I guess, yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Thanks so much, Heather, and welcome. Welcome to both of you to the task force. I think your experiences and knowledge, skills are all going to be a really great asset to the task force. So I'm just gonna, well, I guess I'll start and then I'll just, if we could just popcorn around to the different task force members to introduce themselves briefly. So I'm Vicki Hunter. I think both of you have, I know I've met personally with you, Jennifer, and we've had some communication, Heather, but I'm a professor at MSU Mankato in the sociology department, and I also direct the Scholar Serving Time program, which is a college and prison higher ed program um, at the Shakopee facility. I've been doing that for like 5 years. I'm also the chair of the task force. Okay, let's see. Jeff, would you mind going next?
Sure. Welcome, Jennifer and Heather. My name is Jeff Spies. I'm a program director. I work at the correctional facility in Shakopee. My primary responsibilities have to do with or working with our case managers and around elective programming, volunteers and evidence-based work and that kind of thing. I've been part of this group for, heck, I'm going on my 4th year now. And so, yeah, that's me, and I'll pass it to Lauren, who's sitting next to me.
Hi, welcome. I'm Lauren Zidon. I'm an investigator with the Ombuds for Corrections Office. My caseload consists of all of the youth facilities that are licensed under 2960 across the state, and then also Shakopee Women's Prison. And then
Oh.
Linda, do you want to go?
Sure. Hi, my name is Linda Flanders. Welcome to both of you. I'm a retired police detective in the Child Sex Abuse Unit. I am currently a county commissioner in Goodhue County, and I am the liaison to the task force from the statewide Minnesota Association of Minnesota Counties.
Angela, could you go next? Angela Thompson.
Good morning. Welcome, Jennifer and Heather. My name's Angela. I am a physician based in the southern part of Minnesota, and have experience helping women who've been impacted by the carceral system in our state. And I will pass it to Angela Brewer.
And Angela, we can't hear you if you're talking.
I cannot unmute her as well. I don't know if it's maybe something on her level. Just check to see which microphone it's going to. That might be the problem.
All right. In the meantime, maybe we can go to Savannah.
Hello, my name is Savannah Riddle. I'm the maternal child health section manager at the Minnesota Department of Health. And I'm really excited to meet both of you, Heather and Jennifer. I was really excited to see more information about you when you applied. Previously in Vermont, I was the family treatment court statewide manager, and I just have a lot of excitement and compassion, and I'm just thrilled to have both of you here.
Guy, could you go?
Yes, hi, my name is Nikki Engel. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm one of the co-executive directors of Violence Free Minnesota, the statewide coalition against domestic violence. Thanks. I will pass it to, trying to see, Crystal?
Good morning. My name is Crystal Brackey, pronouns she, her, hers. I am Commissioner Schnell's liaison to the Justice Involved Women and Girls Task Force. So I'm not a voting member, but I'm here for each meeting to hopefully provide connection and support with the Department of Corrections. I am the Deputy Commissioner of Client Services and Supports, which basically means that I just have responsibility for all of the programs, services, and activities that take place in our facilities across the state, and also for people who are in community under supervision. So really look forward to working with and getting to know both of you better. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, Tana, do you want to go?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Tana Welter. Let me see. Heather and Jennifer, I'm so glad you guys are here. I'm really excited. Thank you for sharing. I am a mental health therapist in St. Paul and social worker. Heather, you mentioned, just the impact of, right, like on children and growing up in certain family systems. And so I am very passionate about early intervention, right? The intersection between mental health, trauma, and justice, being involved in the justice system. So my background is working in JDCs and offering therapy in those places. So yeah, I've been on the task force for 4 years as well. And I can pass it to, well, Angela, are you ready now? I saw your message. Maybe you are.
I think so. Can you hear me? All right. It took a little technological work in the background, but it's working. First, Heather and Jennifer, welcome. I'm really excited to have you both here. My name is Angela Brewer. I'm a probation director in Rice County. Worked in probation services for a little over 30 years, including a handful of years with gender responsive services in our county in a variety of capacities. So been around a long time in the field. I've been on this task force for about 1.5 years. And so really excited to have you on board.
Maya, do you want to go next?
Hi, I'm Maya Mason. I am the manager of the Anoka County Non-Secure Program, which is one of the 3 juvenile centers in Anoka County. I am also like our representative from the oh gosh. My mind is going completely blank, but we have a organization of all of our juvenile centers. So I represent that in terms of this group. And I've been working in this field for about 17 years, mostly in the facilities. And I'm really passionate about not kind of losing our girls in the system. So.
Abby, could you go?
Hi, my name is Abby Wakilius. I'm the Lyon County attorney. Lyon County is in Southwest Minnesota. I live in Marshall, Minnesota. I am here as the representative for the Minnesota County Attorneys Association. I am relatively new to the task force. I think this is my 4th meeting. Welcome, Heather and Jennifer. It was great to hear your introduction, and I look forward to working with you all.
Okay, I think all the members have gone. Don, would you please introduce yourself, please?
Hi, my name is Don Click. I am a executive assistant with the Department of Corrections, and I also provide support for this task force and a couple of others. I provide administrative and logistical support for this. It's great to meet both of you, and it'll be nice working with you.
Great. So I think that's everyone. Hopefully, Heather and Jennifer, that gives you a sense of kind of who all is part of the group. And I'm sure as time goes by, you'll get to know each of us a little better. The PREA policy discussion, I thought we were, oh yes, we will. I think that we wanted to start maybe with the video. We had talked previously when we had the discussion about the PREA policies most recently with is it Michael and I can't remember the names. Anyway,
Gino and Liz.
Gino and Liz, sorry. Yes, thank you, Crystal. And we had talked about wanting to kind of get a sense of what women were being informed about in terms of the PREA policies when they entered Shakopee. And the PREA video is part of that presentation, I think. So, Don, do you have the video loaded or?
I have the videos up. Would you like to see the comprehensive video, which is 13 minutes, or the adult intake video, which is 6 minutes?
I think we could do the 13 minutes. And that is, so the 13 minutes is shown to, do you know the difference between the two before we start? Sorry.
I do not.
Jeff, do you happen to know since you're there?
No, I don't either.
Because I'd really like to see the one that most of them see. That
Probably
would be
the intake video then.
Yeah, I would think so.
Okay. All right, let's do that.
You want to do the intake? Okay.
Yes, please. All right. Any comments or questions before we get started to watch this video?
This is the intake video that everyone sees.
Yeah, when they end, yeah, like in the reception orientation, I think that's what they call it at Shakopee, yeah.
And this is when they also get some of that paper handouts that Gino and Liz, they gave us. Okay, cool, thank you.
Yes.
And Vicki, do you think maybe just a quick snippet about where we're at in this process so that Heather and Jennifer know why we are reviewing this video?
Yeah, sure. So yes, so I did have this conversation actually with Jennifer, but we have relatively recently met with the DOC folks who were in charge of some updates in the PREA policies for Minnesota. And so, yeah, we've, as part of our ability to give feedback to kind of how PREA is managed for women in Minnesota, we wanted to review this video, right? If others have things to add, please do so before we start.
Yeah, I think it's a kind of relevant to say too that the part of our policy process involves this is a very recent change, but it involves inviting in outside groups and outside entities to review our processes as well. And that is this process from Gino and Liz's perspective is very welcome from us because this helps them out, see things that people kind of stuck in the system, we have that perspective for years and years and years may not see. So this is a good process for them and for us to look at it as well. So.
Yeah. Thanks, Jeff. All right, I think we could watch the video now.
This video will provide you with information about the National Prison Rape Elimination Act standards, which we'll also call the PREA standards, or sometimes just PREA. The goal of the PREA standards is to help you stay safe and protect you from sexual harassment and sexual abuse during your time in this facility. We know that right now you might feel alone, confused, afraid, or worried. This video is not meant to scare you, but to outline the steps you can take to stay safe.
Simply being locked up does not mean it is okay to be sexually abused or harassed by other people held in this facility or by staff. There are no exceptions, period.
The Prison Rape Elimination Act, PREA, is a federal law passed in 2003 to stop sexual abuse in detention facilities, and it led to national standards to protect people in custody.
The PREA standards are mandatory for all detention facilities across the U.S. Please know that the staff at this facility are committed to following these rules at all times. Sexual abuse is also against the law, and you have an absolute right to be safe. Fact, this facility has a zero-tolerance policy, which means no form of sexual abuse or sexual harassment will be tolerated.
Sexual abuse and sexual harassment, whether by other inmates or by staff, is not allowed under any circumstances. Any unwanted sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, or any derogatory or offensive comments of a sexual nature are unacceptable. This facility has policies in place which clearly state that sexual abuse and sexual harassment by anyone at any time will not be ignored or tolerated. The leadership and staff in this facility are committed to your safety and making the Prison Rape Elimination Act standards part of facility operations and culture, with no exceptions. Here are some ways we can help you stay safe. If you suspect something, say something. If you feel threatened by someone, tell someone on staff. We know that reporting sexual abuse can be very difficult. There are a lot of emotions associated with abuse and trauma that could range from shame, denial, depression, and fear. You might be worried about what would happen to you and be scared of more violence if you make a report. Here are the main ways you can make a report. Option 1, a formal report. Anytime you tell a staff member, contractor, or volunteer verbally or in writing that you're experiencing sexual abuse or harassment, even if you only suspect it, it is considered a formal report. Option 2, a report to medical or mental health staff. You can ask to speak with medical or mental health staff. You can ask them to make a report on your behalf. Option 3, a third-party report. You can ask a family member, friend, or other person outside of the facility to make a report for you. Option 4, an outside entity report. After you finish watching this video, you will be provided with at least one option to report abuse to an outside entity that is not part of this agency. That report will then be forwarded to agency officials. You can report privately without giving your name if you want. The staff in this facility is required to provide you with multiple ways to file a report. When you report abuse, you have the right not to face retaliation, like harm, threats, or intimidation by anyone at the facility, including other inmates or staff. Once you make a report, you have the right to be protected, and you will be kept separate from your abuser. You can always choose to report anonymously without giving your name.
Tip: this facility is required to have the PREA information available to everyone through handbooks, posters, and other written materials.
While you are in this facility, we promise to hold our staff and other people in custody to the highest standard of conduct and work with everyone to provide safety and promote a culture of respect and trust as outlined in the Prison Rape Elimination Act standards. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Don. So I'm going to open it up for comments.
Jeff, just a clarifying question. My understanding is that even if, like, that you, a staff, not another inmate, but like anyone on staff, that there's no such thing as a consensual sexual relationship in facility, correct?
Correct.
So I know you guys didn't make this video, right? You're taking this from the National Resource Center. I get it, but for me personally, someone would have to already think that what's happening to them is abuse, harassment, or violence. Like, there's no definition of that, and there's no acknowledgement that, like, I just think of, like, women in facility might think that they are engaging in a consensual relationship, right? That it's not abuse, that this is not harassment, almost like grooming, right? But it's actually like illegal, right? So this is not a critique of you, Jeff, or what you guys are using, but I'm just, I wish that the video kind of outlined the fact that they cannot engage in a consensual sexual, there's no such thing for them, right? Like with staff or people with that power over them, and or even like defining like what abuse or harassment is. Because from my work in victim advocacy, right, like folks don't necessarily know that what happened to them is abuse, is violence, is harassment, right? There's like a real educational piece that needs to happen for a lot of folks. And so I wish this did some of that education.
More like definition and providing examples. I wonder, so this was the shorter version that we watched, right? Or was this a longer?
This was a shorter version.
Yeah, so I wonder if the longer one, has anyone seen the longer version?
That was
I
going to
do-
be my, sorry.
Sorry.
That was going to be my question. So there's a 6-minute video that the inmates are shown, and then there's another 13-minute video. I guess my question would be, what's in that 13-minute video? You know, what does that entail, and who is being shown that and when? I mean, that's quite a difference, 6 minutes versus 13 minutes. And
Can I add something?
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yes,
don't
please.
obviously work in adult, so I don't know for sure, but why there are 2 videos, and also I never have asked the NIC, but we have to do, there's like a certain standard for education you have to provide at intake, and then there's a higher level of education that you have to provide within 10 days. So my assumption is that's actually why they're providing 2 videos, is one is the intake video and one is the greater level of education that you get within the first 10 days. That is to say, I don't know what's in the longer adult video because I've only seen the juvenile ones. Here at the JC. We only show the longer one, and we meet the intake education standards a different way.
Actually, so I just on the side was messaging with Gino. People do actually watch the 13-minute video when they're in the facilities.
Yeah, I don't see a reason why you'd show the 6-minute one. I'm just being honest. Like, the 13-minute one is not that long. You might as well give them that higher level of education.
And so Maya, the 13, does it kind of get into some of that? This is what abuse is, this is what harassment is.
I think it kind of does, probably not on the level that you're thinking. I do agree with you that a lot of people don't realize that they are potentially kind of in this situation. But there's a part of me that kind of thinks like they're not going to get it from this video at intake, like that takes some like work. I don't know. But there is some, also we have to you can't just give the video. There is also like some other stuff you have to do. And I think that is handled, at least in our building, that's handled a little bit better in some of the other stuff, some of the ongoing work that we have to do.
Okay, I see Tana's reading the transcript for the other one to kind of see what some of the additional information is.
Yeah, I will say I just got to a part where I'm just looking at the transcript where it's saying it's important to know what we mean when we say sexual abuse and sexual harassment comes in many forms, sometimes may not be obvious sexual abuse, any sexual activity that's not wanted or agreed. It can include touch. So it does go into more detail. But I agree with what Maya's saying. I do think some of this takes a little more conversation and some back and forth to really help with understanding.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, we don't know, I don't think at this point, what kinds, like in what context this video is presented at Shakopee. Like maybe there is more back and forth discussion, question, answer. That would be interesting to know. Jeff, sorry to keep pointing you out, but do you who does the PREA presentations at Shakopee? Like what type of personnel?
At Shakopee, we have officers who are part of our intake living units, who are also part of oversee the R&O process. They are the ones at the level we're talking about, presenting the video and giving the other information that hands out. That's my understanding of it. I have a couple of things to do on my list. What I'll do before the next meeting, or what I can do before the next meeting, is sit through that process and come back and kind of report out, give you a little bit more concrete information about what actually happens there. I can do that.
Yeah, that would be great. That'd be really great to do that. Okay. Yeah, and Nikki, to your point about there are no consensual relationships, I know this is probably a sensitive point, but I mean, I think as far as staff is concerned or volunteers, anyone coming from the outside, that is absolutely true. But I think there probably are consensual sexual relationships going on across incarcerated people that are not abusive. It's against the rules. I'm not saying it's not against the rules, but that's different than, applying it to PREA. So,
I agree, Vicky, and I certainly don't want to increase punitive measures, right?
Yeah.
When we're talking about people who are essentially peers, right? In many ways.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, volunteers.
Yeah. So I think, right. I think, because I know, I have not experienced this at Shakopee, but I know at the federal facility in Waseca, they were very adamant that any even consensual relationships across incarcerated people constitute PREA violations, and which I knew because I teach about PREA in one of my classes is not the case. It's a violation of the rule, but it's not a PREA violation. So, and yeah, I don't want us to contribute to any increased, you know, punitive measures being taken there. So, all right, any other comments?
Crystal's got her hand up, Vicky.
Oh, sorry, I can't see a hand. Okay, go, please go.
Thank you. I am so not used to WebEx, so I wasn't even sure if my hand was showing as raised. And I think Jeff is largely going to take the lead on what I was thinking too, which is this video is one thing that happens within the broader context of like bringing people into facility, giving them a sense of what the resources are. There's also the screening that happens with health services. And so I think the broader picture will be helpful. But to Heather, I think put this in the chat, like this video is one of the important things that has to happen as soon as possible, really, because we want everybody to know as quickly as we can, like this is the standard, this is the baseline. And even if something happens in your first few days, we want you to know like what the resources are. And it was in St. Cloud, the men's intake facility, but I was in the intake session with them. I think it was in early June. So I actually like sat in the room with them, watched the video, and the video is clear, right? Like it shares information. But when somebody is on their second day of incarceration and they're also hearing about things like how to do the laundry and how to make phone calls to your loved ones, like it's also washing over you. And so I think it's like, what is the scaffolding of information that people are going to get in those first few days and then in those first few weeks that I think Jeff can help paint a clear picture of in Shakopee, and then we can talk about it with Liz and Gino next month.
Great, thanks, Crystal. Any other comments? And I cannot see hands on this for some reason. So if you please just pop right into the conversation if you have a comment.
Hi, sorry, this is Angela. I don't know if you can see the hand, Vicky. I guess I'm wondering what the difference is between rules and legal ramifications, if anyone could explain that regarding.
So are you, just so I understand the question, are you saying what is the difference between violating PREA and violating a facility rule? Is that what you're?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Again, Jeff or Crystal probably, maybe Maya, I don't know. Some of you who actually work in facilities probably might know.
Jeff, do you want to talk about how that works in Shakopee?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of between a rule and basically you're talking about a criminal violation. So the process in Shakopee, and it's going to be throughout the facilities, but the process in Shakopee is every PREA allegation or every allegation related to a violation of PREA is investigated, is looked into by our Office of Special Investigations, who will determine whether or not the alleged allegation rises to a criminal activity. If there is a criminal activity involved, that'll be referred to the county attorney to decide whether they'll look at the evidence that we've gathered and they'll look at the evidence and decide whether to have formal criminal charges. The lower level of that, when that bar is not reached, that still may be a violation of our rules in terms of interactions with people. For instance, we very occasionally find people in bed together, and that's sometimes very innocuous. It's just, and sometimes it's not. So being in bed together is not a criminal violation, but it may be a PREA rule violation. So I'm not sure if I'm making sense there, but it's OSI that helps us determine whether and what we do with those charges, whether they stay internal or whether they go external to the county attorney.
Okay, so it's OSI. Okay, no, that helps. Thank you.
Yep.
And I would just add, if it's internal, right, and it's like it's a rule violation, then it would be handled more through the facility discipline process, which does not have any connection to the outside legal process that would come with like a severe PREA violation.
So I was just gonna add that I think something could be a rule violation. Something can definitely be a rule violation, a PREA violation, and criminal, but it could be just a rule violation. So like I had a youth here who had a number of issues with, I'm going to say, sexual harassment, and he went up and said, like, whispered in a kid's ear, like, can I call you daddy? And like, that's not a PREA violation because it's not repeated. It's not harassment then. It's also not illegal, but it's absolutely a program violation and not okay, So you have to kind of work all of those things out when you're working on a PREA investigation.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks to all three of you. Those are that's great clarification. I was kind of a little unclear on some of that too, but all right, other comments or questions? Yeah, I just wanted to say that I think the tone of the video is humanizing and kind, which is, a positive, I think, on that. But I agree with Nikki that, some greater clarification on, what constitutes sexual assault and harassment, or even just sexual misconduct, would be helpful. All right. Nikki, do you have any updates for us on the conference committee? Oh, and when you're as you're kind of explaining to us, if you could talk a little bit about what it means to serve, just briefly, to serve on the committee, because since we have 2 new members, it would be great.
Yeah, well, we have exciting news in that we have a date and a contract with a site. So that's exciting. So the conference will take place on April 26th, 2027. It is a Monday. We were going back and forth about days of the week. There was no perfect day that we thought worked for every kind of aspect of the system that we wanted to get there. And so ultimately, we leaned into the day of the week that would give us the greatest cost savings. So for 2027, it will be at the Waite Park Event Center. So we're very excited now that we have that information. We can start to produce materials, we can start to produce save the dates, etc. And we also have a contract now with Heather around helping us with the pieces of the event planning that we need help with. So that also feels really good to all of us on the committee, I would say. She has a tremendous amount of knowledge, and more than that, a tremendous amount of passion for this work. She kind of comes from my area, my field, advocacy, community-based advocacy, and now works at OJP as a grant administrator of victim services programs. So definitely a big champion of women and girls and the ways that they end up in the system and how that's so often tied to their own victimization. So next, I think we will be starting to set the content, right, of the conference, but we had to get this stuff settled first. So if you would like to join us on our small but mighty sub-conference team, we are happy to have you. Right now, it consists of monthly meetings with the 5 of us and the conference planner. We will be, I think, doing the bulk of setting the content, although we will come back to this larger group occasionally, I think, as we think, like, do we want to do this keynote or this keynote? Like the larger group will still like have some kind of say But I think we'll be working out a lot of the details and the nitty gritty and in the smaller group. So if you want to be a part of designing the content, of course, it also means you're going to play a bigger role in kind of the logistics of the conference too. Although, like I said, we have Heather, who is a conference planner, who's going to do a lot of the kind of stuff that none of us have capacity to do, like registration, handling registrations, right? That is a big, big lift. So we meet monthly right now. I imagine as we get closer, probably starting in January, I imagine that those meetings will increase to possibly every other week. But that, I think, Maya, Tana, Angela, anyone who wants to build off what I said or add more would be appreciated.
There's a question in the chat. Can we overview the conference theme? We chose the theme a few meetings ago, and it's whole story, whole person, the realities of women and girls in the justice system. So we really wanted to highlight that these girls in the justice system are not just, or girls and women are not just an incarcerated person, but there's this whole kind of story of their life. And so that was what we tried to get at with the title and the tagline and the theme.
Jennifer, if you would put your email in the chat here, then I can add you to the list. Our next meeting is 8/18. So I can add you to that list. And if you can't come to that one, no worries, but you know, you'll be on the list and you can join us. Right now, for summer has been really tricky for us to find, you know, summer gets wild. People's schedules are very different than they are during the year. So we've been meeting ad hoc. We've been setting a new meeting time every month. But once September gets rolling, we are going to have like a regular cadence. Like we meet on this day of the month every month. So you can be a part of kind of establishing that with us, Jennifer.
I think one thing that I would add, Nikki, is in addition to the theme, which I think we've talked about it several months ago, we all kind of voted. So I think everyone's excited about this, and this theme, we really wanted to capture like all the points of the system, right? Even before someone maybe is in the system. So I think so thinking about that, but then also we really want to make sure we get the right people in the room. And so I think that's why, like when we're talking about dates and things like that, we're trying to consider all this stuff where we can get the most people, but also the right people, right? We don't just want just people, through the DOC, or just that. We really want to try and capture all of it. So I would ask too that people start thinking about that in your own networks. We will start having some ask later around just how we get the word out, things like sponsorships and stuff like that. So that's the other big thing I think we should all be thinking about. Like, who do we want at the table for these conversations? Because the whole point of the conference is to present information, to get energized, and then what do we do with it, right? And keep that kind of going until we meet again.
Nikki, can you repeat where it's going to be?
Waite Park Event Center in St. Cloud. So we wanted to go central. We wanted to get a little bit out of the metro and go to the central part of the state. To kind of hopefully level the playing field for folks who want to attend.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you're pulling it up online, like looking for logistics on it, it's called the Park Event Center. I think it's just the actual name if you pull it up. And just to kind of piggyback off Nikki's comment about Mondays too, I know that the task force really favored a Friday, and those dates were really limited and much more expensive. Plus, we would not be able to grow the conference, which was one of the goals of our group, was to build off of like participation in previous years. I think was around 125, 150, and we're hoping to grow the conference in a way that we could have 250 people in attendance. And the Friday date and even the Thursday date that we looked at did not have the capacity there to grow us beyond 150. So travel costs also are cheaper. Having a Monday conference for people staying overnight in St. Cloud, a Sunday night hotel is much less than a Thursday night hotel, is what we were told by the event coordinator as well.
Thank you for adding that context, Angela. I really appreciate it. Those were important pieces of our consideration as well.
Absolutely.
And we will be providing building out scholarships is also a part of this too, that we'll be working with Heather on, right? So that we can ensure that we have people whose work is based in community and people who have lived experience who might not have jobs that are going to fund them to go to something like this. So we'll be building that out too, and might also need to come back to the larger task force with for thoughts on some of those pieces as we get there.
Nikki, what is the capacity at the Park Event Center?
I think
Yeah.
I think the ballroom goes up to like 500, but don't quote me on that.
No, it's okay. I was really just it probably depends on the seating too, whether you're doing like,
Yeah.
classroom seating or round tables or whatever, but that's fantastic. And I I was just thinking even just the title I think is going to draw so many people. It's really compelling. So I just really want to commend the whole committee. You guys are doing an amazing job, and just really excited about this conference. And yeah, pre-COVID, we were somewhere around 250, but we've really had a hard time getting back. I mean, our one conference since then has been smaller, but it's yeah, I'm really happy to hear that, it really sounds like we're going to be getting back to the bigger numbers and getting our messages out to more people in the field. So yeah, so really nice job. I do want to just, for those of you who are relatively new to the task force, there's an expectation that all task force members attend the conference. And beyond that, it's, generally speaking, everyone has contributed in some way, even if it's like Nikki mentioned, sitting at the registration table for a few hours or something like that. So, so please do get this on your calendar, and think about ways that you might be able to, help make this happen and make it a success. So anything else about the conference? Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay, wonderful. All right. Well, thanks a lot for that report. I think it's really invigorating to hear about what's developing there. So membership committee update. I know that I believe Don Corey's seat is still open or not open?
Corey's seat is still open and Paula's seat is still open.
Paula. Okay. So we have there are 2 seats on the task force open that it's kind of our responsibility to nominate someone for those positions. So Paula's position, I believe, is focused on, is it an advocacy position?
Justice impacted victimization expertise.
Okay. All right. So that is a position we need to fill with someone who has expertise in victimization. Hopefully not perpetrating it, but working to reduce it. And then the other position, I believe, is public defenders. Is that correct?
It's listed as legal system expertise, but it came from the Public Defenders Association.
Yeah, I really do kind of hope we get some representation from the public defender's office. I think that's such an important voice to have in the group. And I know that
I can reach out to Corey. She
Yeah.
had somebody who was possibly going to take her position.
Right.
That person hasn't responded back. If
Okay.
she doesn't have anybody, I can also reach out to our policy people who do have contacts with these various associations.
Oh, that
And
would
see
be
if, Yeah, see if they could reach out to the Public Defenders Association.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, so that would be great, Don. Thank you. If any of you know of someone who does work around victimization of some type, it could be you know, someone from a, domestic violence world or, some other arena in which, someone would do that type of work, please do reach out to them if you think they'd be a good fit. Um, yeah, so at this point, I've been in the pool, at least what was in the pool a few weeks ago, and I don't really see anyone who fits that uh, that description. Angela, please.
Yeah, just a quick question. So if we do have someone in mind and they're interested, do they just apply through the website, or is this a position that you mentioned we appoint as a group? Do they connect with Don?
No, they would apply through the Secretary of State website, but I would I'm assuming you have Don's email. Don, if I'm throwing you under the bus, let me know. But I think having them email Don would be the best because he can give them the link. So maybe just sharing Don's email and he could provide the link to them. Is that okay with you, Don?
Absolutely, that works great.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, and I know he's offered other types of information to people who had questions about how to apply to. So, and they could certainly email me as well if they just have questions about the task force. That they could email me as well. So yeah, please do. Let's try to get these positions filled as soon and as well as we can. And as soon as we have some applicants that that may fit these positions, we can convene a membership committee to go over them. Okay. Any other questions? Oh, I know one more thing I wanted to mention. Crystal has been working on getting someone from, oh gosh,
MIAC.
MIAC. Yeah, I don't know why I always forget that acronym, but yeah. So, yeah. So, has there been any developments there?
We did not get a person identified coming out of their most recent meeting, which was in July. So I have followed up with our tribal relations liaison to see if there's another way that we can get either a name from them or if they would be open to or prefer us bringing a small group of names to them. So that's what I'm waiting to hear back from at this point, but hopefully we'll have more information soon.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. Yeah, so I think those are the open positions at this point. All right. Anything else on membership? And I cannot see hands, so you'd have to raise your real hand or tell me, or just pop in. Okay. Public comment is the next item. I don't think we have anyone from the public. Is that true, Don?
We have nobody in the room and there is no one in the attendee section of the WebEx.
Okie doke. Thank you. So I guess that wraps up our meeting. I think looking forward, I know Jeff is going to report back if he has an opportunity to sit in on the orientation for incarcerated people at Shakopee. That would be great, and we'll look forward to hearing back about that. Anything else that we should be thinking about for future meetings?
We will have, oh, go ahead, Crystal.
That's okay. Don, we were probably going to say the same thing, which is Liz and Gino from our PRIA unit will be here at the next meeting as well. So I think we can talk about any questions, comments, changes to the policy that they are thinking about, in addition to just what the lived experience for incarcerated people is, and just lessons that have been learned, I think, given some of the changes that we've been trying to make around PREA. And then the second thing, Don and I have been in touch with Assistant Commissioner Kelly Mitchell, who oversees our field and community supervision work, to talk about having her come to a meeting this fall.
Okay. All right, great. That sounds wonderful. Any other thoughts about future meetings or things we need to attend to?
Just a quick question. Crystal, when you guys talk to Kelly, ask her to, I mean, could we coordinate something to have some folks come that are doing field service work too? Because the DOC does such a small amount of the actual field supervision that I think it would be helpful to have a few people come and talk about what does that look like around the state from, either agents or supervisors or directors in the actual offices doing the field service work.
Yes, absolutely. I think one of the things we want to do is actually just help this group orient to what all of those different models are, because it is a more complicated system than I think most people understand. So absolutely, we'll pass that along as well, Angela. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
I just have a couple things I wanted to flag that I didn't know if people had seen, and I'm happy to share these in an email. But there was a report that was released maybe a month ago about it was kind of a forecast looking at the trends of women's incarceration and forecasting what it means for the next 10 years and the projected growth nationally of women's incarceration. It's really interesting and might be worth just maybe a group read and conversation at some point. I also wanted to share, I don't know if any of you follow the work of Research in Action. They're a really fascinating group of researchers here in Minnesota who are led by a Black queer woman researcher. And they did this really big project. It's still ongoing, but it's called Justice in Institutions for Black Women, Girls, and Femmes. And they did surveyed Black women, girls, and femmes about their experiences in different institutions, like the healthcare institution, criminal justice system, child welfare across the state of Minnesota, and have given these institutions report cards based on how they serve Black women, girls, and femmes. And so I think looking at what they found about the criminal justice system, yes, Dr. Brittany Lewis, looking at what they have found in the criminal justice system as it relates to Black women, girls, and femmes, I think would be worth some time of us. And then I just wanted to share some exciting news. Kentucky just passed a law that allows for primary caregivers to be given non-carceral sentences. And so they do not have to be incarcerated if you are a primary caregiver. And we know how many women in Shakopee and incarcerated generally are the primary caregivers of young children. And so what would it look like to have something like that here? Which reminded me, Crystal, of what we do have with postpartum. I can't think of the name of the program.
Healthy Start? Yes.
It would be lovely to get an update on how that's going, how many women have used it, how, at some point. That I think would be really fantastic. I would love an update on Healthy Start for sure.
Great idea. Well, we'll get that on the schedule as well.
Yeah, thanks, Nikki. Those are some really important updates. Would you mind sharing a link if you have?
I'm gonna put it. I'll put it in the chat right now.
To the Research in Action. I mean, is that what you're?
Oh yeah, yep. I can. Yep.
Yeah, because I'd love to read that and maybe have a discussion about it. And yeah, it would be really great to hear about the how Healthy Start is going, and if it's impacting, how it's impacting people. All right, any other things that for upcoming meetings? All right, so I guess we can adjourn then for today. Thanks to everyone, and we'll see you in September. All right. Bye. Don, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so we might want to put the healthy start thing on future future meeting topics, and